welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are still in Garlemald in Camp Broken Glass and kind of recuperating from our little pains with Xenos here before we actually continue attacking him. And so, to recuperate, I do a bunch of side quests. So, Rimelnor, in pursuit of power. Rimelnor would like your opinion on something. Ah, just who I was looking for. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Rimelnor of Ishgard. I've been put in charge of our arrangement with Tepper's Den, you see. However, the very first of the Teppers to come bearing ceruleum has asked quite a lot of us, if I do say so. I wish for our help in getting Utuna Platform G up and running. The very same platform that's at the head of the Imperial's primary energy pipeline. What's more, he's a Garlean. I was convinced the only engineers left in Tepper's Den were from conquered territories. In any case, I'm not qualified to judge the motives of a man. I'd feel much more at ease if I had someone of your expertise helping to make the call. Okay. I thank you for your willingness to assist. Let us go and speak with the Tepper in question then. He's a man by the name of Appius. What? What happened? Why did my game just freeze? I suppose you must be the friend Rimelnor wanted to fetch. You have my thanks for getting him to agree to my proposal. Do not misunderstand, I have yet to agree to any such thing. I merely wanted someone else present during our talk. Very well, though I do believe my proffered deal would be a boon to us and the Ilsabard Contingent alike. I used to work on Utuna Platform G, you see, so I know more than most about the facility and its operation. That may be so, but your relationship with a facility notwithstanding, why should a Garlean such as yourself still be taking with UG in a Tepper's Den? We've been led to believe that the former workers residing there are from other territories. You're right on the technicality. I was a supervisor rather than your typical staff. When the platform went down, it only seemed right that I stay with my crew. I always thought we were close, but living alongside them in Tepper's Den has made me realize that I took them and their skills for granted. That's to say nothing of a blind eye I turned to their struggles. And that's why I came to you. It's high time I be of some real use to them, and everyone else, if you're lucky. If we manage to get the platform back in working order, it'll dramatically increase our capacity to pump and refine ceruleum for everyone in the region. Sadly, we are more than a few hands short of a full workforce, not to mention the lack of supplies. Which is precisely where you come in. Help us get things up and running again, and you'll have your share of ceruleum coming out of the rig. You couldn't come up with a more mutually beneficial agreement if you tried. So he says, what do you think? He seems trustworthy to me. Yes, I'd be leaning the same way myself. Ultimately, what he says about the potential benefits is true. Nevertheless, I doubt the higher-ups would assent to this. I suppose that is how it goes when you're dealing with military types. For what it's worth, I do understand the hesitancy to throw your lot in with someone from a hostile nation. Thus, part 2 of my proposal. I shall do you a service to prove myself worthy of the contingent's trust. I had a look around the fringes of your camp here before you arrived. I've spotted a few ceruleum engines in need of repair. If I fix them up, your superiors would have no reason to suspect, but I want to see you driven out. Less reason in any case. Assisting us with use of local technology would go a long way, I'd imagine. That said, I haven't heard anything about the ceruleum engines we've scavenged breaking down. It's not as if they're entirely useless yet, but I guarantee they're not running as they should. Give me the opportunity, and I can have them working more efficiently and safely. You're welcome to accompany me while I do so. That way you can ensure that I do not get up to anything suspect, and then vouch for me with your superiors. I have no objections. I trust you will sense anything amiss. I will? Apparently I will. Let us begin with a proper inspection, then. We can get to work as soon as you're ready, Desiree. My apologies for dragging you into this, but I do appreciate the help. Keep an eye on him when you go to inspect those engines. Though the ultimate objective is to get the engines running at full capacity, the purpose of this inspection is to work out what parts we'll need. However, I would hate to fumble something and be accused of sabotage, so I'd appreciate if you could be the one to lay hand on the devices. Never fear, I'll be right behind you, telling you what to look for. If we inspect, say, 3 of them, we should have a decent idea of what needs repairs. Lead the way. Appius is now accompanying you. Yes, even in side quests they use this mechanic. Probably in the buildings, or... And there I see one. Praise be to your deft hands. I have an idea of what our next step ought to be. Or perhaps it would be best to apprise Garlemald of our progress first? How are our engines? Alas, I fear that each of those we examined are guaranteed to break down sooner or later, should you continue using them in their current state. Surely you jest. I swear on my integrity as an engineer. You are in dire need of instruction in the proper operation of cerulean engines. You saw the little lamp light up when you touched the switch, correct? That only illuminates when there's an issue with the engine. They were switched off for want of fuel when the settlement was abandoned, no doubt, which prevented them burning out, only to let them freeze solid instead ere your lot turned them on. From the state they're in, I can only assume it didn't occur to you to warm them up first. I noticed you have heating technology of your own, but it will do you no good should the engines to power them break. Now will it? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain from my assistance. I'm a machinist on frozen climes myself. What you say sounds plausible enough. Very well, on behalf of the camp, I formally ask you to repair the cerulean engines. I suppose that means I will take responsibility for if anything goes wrong, so you may as well use your own 2 hands this time. That's the spirit. I knew you'd come around. Now, but Garlemald knows I'm worthy of his trust. We need only prove it to his superiors. Camp broken engines. Ere you become even more excited, will you indeed require additional parts to perform the repairs? I cannot say I spotted any likely spares while setting up the camp. It's so good to have a quick-thinking machinist like yourself at my side. No amount of flattery will convince me to take you to my superiors ere we have physical proof of your good intentions. Now focus, please. Are spare parts required, yes or no? Yes. You're awfully tense about the shoulders. Did you know that? I will be needing a replacement carburetor for one of the engines. Fortunately, the same sort of engines were in use at Monitoring Station G last I checked. We ought to be able to find what we need there. After I swapped out the faulty part and made my other repairs, I warmed the engines up properly. That should clear any cerulean residue and allow them to run at full capacity once more. With that in mind, I want to start taking things apart. Can you fetch the carburetor for me? Do you even know what a carburetor is? She's a bona fide hero, you know. You can't just ask her to do your bidding. And rudely at that. I'm used to it. If you're certain, you will need to look for a sort of tube connected to the cerulean engine's core. Many Magitech devices utilize them. Monitoring Station G, huh? This so-called carburetor appears to have seen better days. Perhaps another ceruleum engine has a nicer one. You? No? Maybe you? You stand somewhat protected in here in that corner. With a box in front. This carburetor appears to be intact. Appius will know for certain. And not a moment too soon. Were you able to find an intact carburetor? This will do it. Now, we will know that I have finished fixing up those engines in no time at all. There, everything's in order. These should be much more efficient, and you notice they stopped making strange and ominous noises. I must say, I'm taken aback by your abundance of skill. Allow me to thank you on behalf of everyone here at Camp Broken Glass. Oh, the pleasure's all mine. Happy to be of service. You do seem genuine about that. Tell me, do you have some sort of connection to Camp Broken Glass? In a way, I hail from Laterum, as it happens. It was a village here, precisely where your camp is now. It acted as a checkpoint for those visiting the capital, but it was also home to the rigs workers and our families. Obviously, much has happened since last I could call this place home, but in my heart of hearts, it always will be. I must apologize. We're effectively occupying your home, yet placed the full burden of proving faith in our dealings upon you. Oh no, I couldn't blame you for that. We hardly had a viable alternative to abandoning Laterum. No, we could never defend ourselves against wandering bands of maddened soldiers. But that reality is no more your fault than ours. Even if you vacated right this instant, I doubt many of us would return. We simply don't have the resources. Until Juturna Platform G is back in working order, that is. Truth be told, your presence here is what has me daring to hope. If you agree to help me now, there may come a day when the other survivors and I can come home. Fury above, I certainly can't turn you away now, and you've proven yourself with your work this day. I have no lingering qualms about approaching my superiors about your proposal. Truly? Oh, I could kiss you. Perhaps I should temper my expectations, or is it better to remain positive? Quick, tell me what face better endears you to my cause. Operation Reactivation. If there's no objections, I will speak to a quartermaster about getting the necessary men and supplies for this operation straight away. He's stationed just over there in the pavilion. Could I trouble you to accompany me? It might help if another can testify to Appius' sincerity and competence. Great idea. What are we waiting for? One would think he didn't have a care in the world. Let's pray that Estelor is amused rather than irritated. Oh, the nerves are really setting in now. Mr. Quartermaster Estelor, have you two not met? Ah, Wimeno, I see you brought Mrs. Klingo and... is that the envoy von Tepper's den? Yes, you see, sir, it all began with Appius here. I see. It would certainly be a boon to us if the platform was restored to working order. No doubt. So, you agree to help? On one condition. You must first confirm that the platform can be reactivated. We aren't blessed with a surfeit of personnel and resources, you know. Thus our reaching out to the tappers to begin with. We cannot waste time and manpower on operations with little chance of success. Wimeno, you are tasked with assessing the current state of Uturna Platform G, as well as the precise resources we would need to commit to reactivating it. I shall make my final decision on how to proceed only once I'm fully abreast of the situation. Yes, sir. In that case, Desiree and I will accompany you. You really ought to stop making decisions on Desiree's behalf. But I would be glad for the company. Meet us at Uturna Platform G, if you would. Appius can help me carry the equipment. If it can be reactivated, that platform will play a key role in restoring these lands to their former habitability. I pray you return with good tidings. Okay, but it's downward, so probably not under the platform, not on top of a pipeline. This is an Imperial facility, to be sure. Garish, if you ask me. I do so miss the days when we had the full crew, pumping and tinkering and operating heavy machinery on too little sleep. As much as I would like to know what the hell's you're on about, we have no time to be revisiting old memories. We're here for one reason, and one reason only. I know. At least the exterior sense are unharmed. I'll head inside and have a look around. Can you two stay here and make sure nothing large and hungry is waiting for me when I come back? That sounds reasonable. Desiree, let us keep our wits about us. Excellent. I'll see you both in a bit. Ah, Appius, how did it look? The equipment appears undamaged, but temperatures are so low that we need to be careful about how we turn everything on again. It's just... What, is there another issue? In a word, yes. I couldn't find the identification key. Without it, there's no way to activate the platform, even if it were in pristine condition. And why exactly was it designed with such an obvious flaw? Flaw? Uturna Platform G is the cabinet's main supply of ceruleum. It wouldn't do if anyone could turn it off and on, now would it? The key is always kept secure and there's only 2 people able to open the container it's usually stored in. Myself and Chief Frontinus. I haven't seen him since this blasted war began, but I can only imagine he's out there somewhere, key in hand. You think he took it? I've never met anyone quite as loyal to the Empire as Chief Frontinus. He probably took the key to stop anyone from misusing the platform. Then I'd say he succeeded in his aim. It stayed dormant this whole time and out of the hands of the warring factions. Indeed. Now we just need to find out where he is. I'm sorry for wasting your time. There's no way we can get this place up and running without that key. Don't tell me you're going to give up, just like that. Let's find another way. Oh, I suppose you're right. We're 3 of us together. Surely we can think of something. And Rimelnor is excited for it. I appreciate your optimism, but how are we going to solve this problem? Energy for all! Rimelnor has precisely one solution in mind, which is notably better than zero. Is there really no way to bypass the mechanism that the identification key interacts with? What exactly do you mean? I work at the manufactory in Ishgard. I once watched my superior, as is his way, dismantle a Magitech armament and put it back together again. He succeeded in bypassing the verification mechanism required to activate the machine by rewiring it. I was wondering if something similar wouldn't be possible with a platform. That's something a second-rate thief would do. Well, beggars can't be choosers. Save your chief engineer appearing out of thin air, it's likely our only option. You got a point there. And far be it from me to turn down a proposal from an esteemed colleague. I'm so glad to have you at my disposal. That's the spirit, I suppose. I shall return to camp to inform the quartermaster of our plan. He should be willing to spare an external power source and a few other tools if I vow to return them soon. Perhaps even some extra pairs of hands. That leaves me to open up the control panel and rearrange a few things before Rimelnor returns. In the meantime, I'd thank you to keep an eye out for anything that might eat him on the way back. There were never so many beasts around before, but I must have gotten comfortable without us traipsing back and forth across the ice. A little too comfortable, if you ask me. Lie in wait at the designated location and slay any enemies that appear. Hello, Rosie. I've done all I can for now. I even caught the end of a battle with those creatures. Spectacular! Ready to get to work, I hope. Of course! All that's left is to engage in a bit of Ishgardian skullduggery. I'm not sure I care for that turn of phrase, but very well. We'll attach the power devices which should allow you to utilize the control panel. Thrilling. This place will be up and running before you know it. Just stand back and watch the master at work. And I stand guard. Good. It worked, yes? You bet it did. Best life in the old girl yet. Of course, there's still a lot of work to be done to get it ready to extract and refine ceruleum, but we're off to an excellent start. Which means Garlemald just took its first step on the road to recovery. I cannot thank you both enough. The tower in the background just kills the view a bit. I'll be feeling that thrill for days. Fortunate I am to have such brilliant new friends. I'm pleased that this plan was a success after all. I appreciate you seeing it through to the end. We can leave the rest to the engineers I brought with me. They're more than capable of keeping the place operational until we're prepared for the next phase. Now let us return to camp and inform Estelor of our triumph. Ah, good to see you again. I was just wondering when I might hear how you fared with the platform. And it seems I won't have to wait any longer. I trust your eagerness is a sign that you had success? Yes, sir. We were able to access the platform's controls and confirm that it is operational. There are still adjustments we made, but I imagine it won't be long until it's fully operational. Splendid. If a camp can secure a stable supply of energy, we can begin rebuilding throughout the region. It will doubtless give succor to those in Tepperstan and the capital proper as well. One of our goals when we first came here was to improve the lives of those that still call this frozen land home. You have made a great contribution toward realizing that ambition. Thank you, sir. I certainly wouldn't have made it this far without your genius. The days when Garlemald looked toward a bright future seem so distant now, but the snow and frost have reclaimed their dominion. But I for one am ready to embark on the same journey that my ancestors once did. I built a new home. I want the warmth of cerulean flame. I'm certain that when the time comes, I shall be proud to know that I worked alongside you. I must thank you as well. You have taught me to listen and with sincerity to the words of those who I would otherwise have unjustly scorned. I imagine it will be some time before you can return Laterum to its former inhabitants, but I promise that, when we do, it will be in a better state than when you left. Well then, we'd better get to work. Ah, we indeed. Okay, that seems to be this. Good, with it I say until next time then. I'm Mace, and don't get lost.